Hello and welcome to a special bonus episode of the franchise. I am your host, Daniel Ehrenberg.
I'm your host, Henry Papali. I guess we could technically call this episode 12?
No. Bonus episode. This episode does not deserve a number.
All right, fair enough.
All right, so today we're talking about 1984's Supergirl. Which I'd never seen before. And listen, to the listeners out there, we've already recorded the next episode you're going to hear.
It's true.
Which is Superman 4 and Superman Returns. And Henry and I got into a fight during that episode. And there is nothing in the world to bring two people back together better than Supergirl, because there's no way that we have different opinions on this movie. We have not talked about it.
No, not a word.
But if you liked this, we're stopping this podcast.
I was also guilty of saying chronology aside, that Superman Returns was probably the worst Superman movie. I've since quite rescinded that opinion, not just from Supergirl, but it's actually going to be much higher on my list.
Okay, no spoilers for the next episode.
No. But yeah, okay. So my point is, can I just start off real quick before you do a little plot summary?
Yes.
This is one of the worst fucking movies I've ever seen in my life.
I'll tell you, this is not my least favorite Superman movie we've watched.
Is that right?
Yeah. But it's hard.
It was mine.
Oh, understandably.
Oh my God! And I'm really not your least favorite. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess I don't get a hint on that, huh?
No, we'll get to it,
right.
And we'll rank them.
Well, of course,
in the Snyder episode. All right. So, Supergirl, directed by Jeannot Zwark.
And Jaws 2.
Well. Yeah, and written by David Odell. Hey, Jeannot Zwark has become a very good television director.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He had his little heyday with Jaws 2, this movie, Somewhere in Time.
Yeah, we referenced that a while ago.
Sure, and Santa Claus the movie with those.
Yeah, those are the only ones I wrote. Yeah.
But he's become a journeyman TV director. He directed 14 episodes of Smallville.
Oh, I didn't. Wow, I didn't. Okay.
Yeah, a bunch of Heroes, a bunch of Fringe. He's worked with David E. Kelly a lot on like all of that dude's shows.
I don't know. Yeah.
Ally McBeal, The Practice, that sort of thing.
Okay.
And most recently, he's directing a ton on Bones and Grey's Anatomy.
Really?
Yeah, so he's a guy who's just around. He's like, I think he's like 80 at this point. He's still just directing a ton of television.
Huh, all right.
Yeah. So, listen, he's a TV director. David Odell, meanwhile, do you know much about that guy, the writer?
No.
He's got an interesting career, too. Because he got his start with Jim Henson.
Okay.
And he wrote, like, a ton of, like, The Muppet Show.
Really?
Yeah, and he wrote that movie, The Dark Crystal.
Oh, yeah, I remember that from, like, childhood.
Sure, and then he wrote this and Masters of the Universe, and then Hollywood basically blacklisted him. He never worked again. But, so it's kind of an odd, interesting pedigree in this movie, but it's horrible. Okay, so it comes out July 19th, 1984. They're trying for the big summer release again. Mm-hmm. And so it's between Superman 3 and 4, am I right?
Right.
It's a year after Superman 3.
Right.
Comes in at a budget of $35 million, which is sort of,
pretty
close
low.
to what Superman 3 had.
Right.
And it comes with a box office of $14.3 million. This movie did not do well. Hey, these Superman movies are always released like mid-July.
Yeah.
Even like Superman Returns.
Oh, really? That's right. You're right.
Why don't they do like a Memorial Day thing? Like Superman's like the American way, right?
Right. Good point.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They might have a better shot there. I
Maybe.
feel like late July, audiences are already like sick of these big summer movies.
Yeah. Make the summer movie, release it in the winter.
Sure. Yeah.
You gave a couple of credits out there. I just want to also give a couple of credits, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we'll get to the casting, which is great. I want to credit the set design to Gustav Klimt, the deceased Austrian painter, and the costume design to the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I want to give that a little shout out there. Make sure those guys get a little mention.
Well, you're clearly referring to the early scenes which take place on Krypton, I guess?
Yeah. Not Krypton. The Kandor or Galagor. Or,
well, I feel like isn't it just like a city within Krypton?
Oh, yeah. I had trouble following it. I mean, it was kind of like an episode of Lost.
I know. It's like the mayor of the town is sort of like a cult leader played by Peter O'Toole.
How drunk do you think he was during production?
Oh, he's a wreck. He's asked to play Zoltar. Yeah. In his opening scene, he's building a tree with a plastic toy.
I mean, I really can't. I really can't describe to our listeners. If I have to believe that most of our listeners probably haven't seen Supergirl, and I'm recommending it because I mean, I've never seen anything like it. I mean,
it's kind of a fun bad movie.
It is. I mean, I can't. It was a struggle, but you're right. It's a fun bad movie in like a different way than Superman 3, where you're like scratching your head. This one, you're just. I mean, it looks like a bunch of kids got together and were like, "Supergirl's a cool character. Let's get her video camera."
Yeah, which she is. Supergirl actually is a really good character.
I don't really know. I haven't read any Supergirl comics actually, or yeah. Go ahead.
The comic book Supergirl. The premise is that Jor-El and Laura, Clark's parents, tried to send his older cousin with him to Earth. But they got separated, and she got caught in suspended animation, and then she reaches Earth later. So Clark is an adult, and Supergirl's a teenager, but actually Supergirl's way older than Clark. She's just been in suspended animation this whole time. So she feels this protectiveness over Clark, but she's like 10 years younger than him.
Do we want to set up the plot for this movie? Or
we can try.
It's all you, buddy, because, yeah.
So, Supergirl, Kara Zor-El, gets sent to Earth. She immediately gets attempted raped.
I wrote that down.
Woman.
I wrote that down. I wrote it with an underline. I wrote another attempted rape because we had that in Back to the Future.
Yeah, but this is even worse.
Because
it's like, okay, we're doing a Superman movie, but she's a girl. What's the best thing? Like, what can she fight? What's going to be her power demonstration sequence? Oh, two guys can try to rape her.
Yep.
For fuck's sake. And they're these sort of funny rapists. They're charmers.
Yeah,
they're charmers, those rapists.
They're not all bad guys. They just had a tough day at work.
Listen, they're trying to have a fun time. They didn't know what they were getting into with this Supergirl.
Hey, man, they drive in their truck. They get out of the car. They see a brightly colored, woman. They figure, hey, let's just see what happens.
I like that she like throws one of them through a wall though, and the other guy still like pulls out a switchblade and is like, "Hey, sweetheart, dude, get out of there." She's wearing a Superman uniform. Put two and two together.
In this universe, I was just gonna say, in this universe, there's no assumption that superheroes actually exist, even though they're well aware that Superman does exist. So there could be somebody with some amazing powers.
Once your buddy gets punched through the face, just assume she's Kryptonian.
The repeated sexual innuendo in this movie was amazing. Did you notice that? Like, every sequence had something going on that was very pointed and not subtle in any way.
It's misogynistic beyond this movie.
God.
So after this rape, she
we're still doing the plot, right?
Yeah, she sort of sees some girls playing field hockey, and she's like, "Oh, humanity seems sweet."
Right.
And so she joins a boarding school for no reason, and which was my favorite part of the movie. We'll get there. And then, meanwhile, Faye Dunaway plays a witch, I guess.
I guess too. I guess, yeah.
And I kept trying to figure out what like her big evil plot was gonna be.
Right, me too.
But it seems like there was this like hunky gardener.
Crossover time.
What?
Dude! The hunky gardener? You didn't notice the
yeah, no, I know. He's the cokehead from Die Hard.
That's right.
Yeah.
Ellis.
I did catch that.
Fucking Ellis.
Yeah, but he is hunky in this movie. Yeah, Hart Bachner. But it seems like the witch Faye Dunaway just kind of wants to fuck this guy.
Yeah.
But she sets a spell on him. Like a love spell. It's like the first person you see you will want to fuck. But he doesn't see her first. He sees, Supergirl.
Ellen Slater.
In her high school garb as, what's her name? Laura Lee? Laura Lee.
Linda Lee.
Yeah, every female in Superman movies has to have like a double L.
Yeah, an alliterative name.
Yeah, but always L.
Right, because her roommate...
Lucy Lane.
Did you catch Lucy Lane being so bored with the movie she was reading an Incredible Hulk comic?
Fucking I totally did. In Lucy Lane's... Come on, get it together, Salkinds. Okay. How is that possible? It's a DC Comics adaptation.
I'm actually glad you corroborated that with me because I wasn't entirely sure. I was like, that couldn't be.
No, it was 100% an early 80s Len Wein Incredible Hulk comic.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's a DC movie, and the first time we see Lucy Lane, Lois Lane's little sister, I guess. They
say cousin in the movie, but then when I read the plot summary, it says sister, so nobody knew what was happening.
Who cares? And so, yeah, she's just reading an Incredible Hulk comic, man.
She knew how bad it was. She knew what she was doing.
I don't know, man. Meanwhile. All right, so anyway, that's the plot of the movie. Then this witch wants to kill Supergirl, because she sends her to the... Because she's fucking making out with Hart Bachner.
Right.
And then, she sends her to the Phantom Zone, and Peter O'Toole saves her. It's like a real Orpheus situation. And,
which did remind me, sorry if I'm laughing so much, folks. It's just that kind of movie. I did have a thought about the Phantom Zone, man. Not such a bad place. You know? We're kind of left in Superman and Superman 2 thinking, you're trapped in a mirror. Not really. You kind of have the run of the place.
It's like a cave, right?
Yeah. You have your cave. You can walk around, not so bad.
Zoltar didn't seem that bad off down there.
No. I mean, big deal. It's like a nice, you get to look at stalactites from another planet. It's fine.
How stupid is the name Zoltar?
It's pretty bad. And especially when anyone in the movie utters it. it's there's no way to say that without it not working.
There's a bit in Dude, Where's My Car? Where there's a cult leader named, played by Hal Sparks, named Zoltan. And anytime anybody says his name, they have to repeat it, and they put their fingers in the shape of a Z. And anytime anyone says Zoltar in this movie, I just wanted to do that Dude, Where's My Car hand signal. And if your superhero movie is making me think fondly of Dude, Where's My Car, then you're doing something wrong.
Wasn't Zoltar, this just occurred to me, by the way, remember in Big, the Tom Hanks?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think that's the Machine.
So was it Peter O'Toole in the Machine that makes him big? With his plastic
Might
toy?
as well be. Was Peter O'Toole still alive by the time Big? Yeah, I guess so, right?
He just died like 3 years ago.
Yeah,
dude.
right. Whatever. Peter O'Toole.
Brenda Vaccaro.
The pigeon lady from Home Alone 2. Lost in New York. We'll cover those on the show.
She was of, I believe, Broadway and TV fame. She's been on a lot. She's a lot real Robert Vaughn situation going on there.
She's Faye Dunaway Witch's best friend, who's all like, "I saw him first." This whole movie, it's just a superhero movie about ladies wanting to bang Hart Bachner.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. How does Supergirl change her hair color like that, by the way?
I believe it's a wig.
In, like, the universe that she's in?
Yeah. I think she's, like, legit just wearing a wig.
Super wig. Like, real quick. Change it. Okay.
She looks good with that dark hair. I gotta tell you.
Nah, I liked her better with the blonde.
Ooh, different strokes.
Well, it's not a preference of blondes over brunettes. I just think Helen Slater looked better as a blonde.
Well, she is a blonde. But I will say that the Salkinds wanted to cast Brooke Shields as Supergirl.
Yeah, I read that.
And Jeannot Zwark shot them down, cast Helen Slater. And years later, one of the Salkinds said, "You know where we went wrong with that movie? We should have gotten Brooke Shields."
Right.
And
that's all that was wrong with it.
I gotta say, fuck you to the Salkinds, because the least of your problems in this fucking movie was Helen Slater. I actually thought Helen Slater was perfectly charming. She gave a fun performance. She's playing her as like a woman who, is from another planet. Like, she's got like a wide-eyed innocence about planet Earth.
Yeah.
And I thought she worked for me.
Yep,
Helen Slater is a perfectly decent Supergirl. She's gone on to have an excellent career in both film and television. I
can't think of her in any movies.
No, she's been in movies, man.
The Secret of My Success was the only one I remember.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but she's been in movies. Okay. And I will say she's also continued having a relationship with DC, because she played Laura, Clark's mother, on Smallville.
Oh.
And she also was the voice of Talia al Ghul on Batman the Animated Series.
Is that right?
That's right.
I didn't know that. Oh. All right.
There you go. So,
kind of been a Ned O'Toole situation where she kind of stuck with comics for a little bit here and there.
Well, yeah, because it's like the thing they're best remembered for.
Sure.
So they, like, Helen Slater and Annette O'Toole were smart enough to recognize that the fans that remember them the most fondly are superhero fans.
Right.
So they stuck with that.
Yeah.
All right, so, I mean, this movie, I'll say the best part of it, to me, was when she goes to high school.
Yeah. Did you like the Carrie and Porky's shower sequences? I mean, there were a lot of head-scratching moments, but that was one of the most...
They're not, like...
What the fuck was going on?
There's no nudity or anything.
No, but it's just so bizarre. It was just bizarre. Like, I was like, what is this doing in here? Like, those really cruel girls are going to turn scalding water on them, and,
Yeah, and that turned into nothing. There was a moment in this movie where I hated like the first half hour or so, and then I was like, oh, it's turning into kind of a good little high school movie. And I like a good little high school movie. So I was kind of pumped about that, but the high school thing really only lasts for like 20 minutes, and then it turns back into a superhero movie after Hart Bochner gets like, mesmerized or whatever. And so there was that like 20-minute window in this movie where I was kind of into it.
Really?
Yeah, really.
That window did not open for me.
It did. I liked that, so you had as like the sort of principal, I guess, of this high school, the great British comedian Peter Cook.
Oh my God, yeah.
You might know him as the devil from the original Bedazzled.
I didn't know him at all. Actually, I gotta confess to you.
Oh really? No,
I figured, given the star power, that he was somebody, and then you look him up and he is, but I didn't know him at all.
Yeah. He's a thing, and
right.
So he puts like a math problem on the board, Good Will Hunting style, and Supergirl solves it with her super math. Right. And I enjoyed that. And then they all go on a date to Popeyes. That happens in this movie.
Jimmy Olsen, Mark McClure.
Okay. So Jimmy Olsen shows up, and it's funny. If you don't watch Supergirl, you'd never know in the Superman movies that Jimmy Olsen's a pedophile. Because Jimmy Olsen is a grown man. He works in a newspaper, a major metropolitan newspaper, as one of their top photographers.
Right.
He's 26 at the lowest.
Wait, I had a quick question for you.
Wait.
Oh, go ahead. I was just going to... Yeah, go ahead.
And he's dating Lucy Lane in this movie.
Okay.
He's driving into Smallville,
right,
taking a fucking high school girl out to a date at a local Popeyes franchise.
Right.
Nothing could be creepier.
To Catch a Predator. Yeah. I have a question. I wasn't entirely sure. I should have said this earlier. It just didn't occur to me. Was it a high school? Or was it like a college?
No, I believe it's a boarding...
They're living in dorms, and they're talking about taking semesters off. And
I think
stuff
it's a boarding school.
Okay. I just wasn't sure. I couldn't ever really tack that down. I'll take your word for it.
What college is happening in Smallville?
I don't know. Smallville U?
Yeah, probably.
Superman University? I don't know. Jonathan Kent State? Oh!
Ooh.
Thank you.
That was good.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Hey, so the movie has to have something funny about it.
Is that when Doomsday killed Superman? Was that the Kent State Massacre?
There were some casualties. Jonathan, Kent, and Superman were one of them. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. What else do we fucking have to... Do you have anything else on this movie?
I'm really sorry that Jerry Goldsmith did the music.
Yo, it was kind of good, though, right? Jerry Goldsmith
all right. I mean,
is incapable of being terrible.
Exactly. I mean, it's what is this? The second time we've had him come into our franchise, right? He's in Basic Instinct, and
yeah, he's good.
He left us, and he tries, man.
He really does try.
He really
because
tries.
There's like no John Williams themes in this movie.
No.
Is there not? I don't think so. There's not
thing.
much connection to the Superman movies. We see a poster of Christopher Reeve.
Right.
There's like a radio.
Well, you could talk about that. That he declined to be in it.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting considering they got the dude who directed Somewhere in Time.
Right. On Reeve's recommendation, from what I read.
Yeah, me too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. He's looking after his career, I suppose. But
yeah,
but I mean, we see his image, and we get a radio broadcast that's like, he's out of the fucking... I guess he's already left to investigate Superman Returns, am I right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because he's off planet in this.
He's off. He's off world.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good place to be when making
Outworld, like Mortal Kombat.
How about Mia?
We'll be covering those movies on the podcast.
Yeah. How about Mia Farrow?
Yeah, she shows up for like a second. And she's fine. She Mia Farrow's for a minute. But Faye Dunaway is so terrible in this movie.
I mean, I agree, obviously, but who could... This is just another example of who could have done anything with anything in this movie.
I don't know, man, but Faye Dunaway...
What do you give it to work with?
I really hate the Golden Raspberries.
Yeah,
and
right.
she and O'Toole both got nominated for them this year.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, fair enough, Golden Raspberries. Because I love Faye Dunaway. She's an amazing actress.
I agree.
Her in Bonnie and Clyde.
I met her once. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, she's a very cool person. I met her. I was working, when I mentioned this before, when I was right out of high school, I worked at the Symphony.
Right.
And she was playing Maria Callas in a stage production.
How about that?
Yeah, in a one-woman show. And there was an after party, and me and a buddy of mine weaseled our way into it. It was really highfalutin and fancy, and I just went up to her, and she was stunningly gorgeous, even into her 50s at that point, I guess. And she was just very friendly. And I just said, I just wanted to tell you your performance was really great. And she was like, oh, thank you. That's so gracious of you. She was wonderful.
She's a great actress. But, Chinatown and Network. But
right.
Hey, man. Hey, was she super thin when you met her?
She looked great. Yeah, she was pretty thin, but not like, she looked good. It wasn't.
I always think about, there's a story on the set of Bonnie and Clyde, Warren Beatty, and like some of his like pals on set. They would call her, because she was a newcomer at the time.
Right.
Like, no one knew her. So they would refer to her as Fading Away.
Really?
Like instead of Faye Dunaway, they would say Fading Away because she was anorexic.
I didn't know that. No, she looked fantastic when I saw her. I did not think that. Interesting.
Yeah, I read that in a book called Pictures at a Revolution about the 1967 Best Picture race. All right. So that's Supergirl. Do you have anything more to say about this movie?
Oh, I did do a review that we have covered now 20 films. And this is my 4th 1-star review.
I considered giving this 2 because I liked Helen Slater and I liked the high school parts. I also like that this was the second Superman movie in a row after Superman 3 that has a scene set in a computer class. I couldn't have predicted that.
Yeah, a wave of the future.
Yeah.
That was pretty bad, yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to go 1, too, but I will say, like, spoilers for the next episode, I think I liked this a little bit more than Quest for Peace.
Did you? Yeah. I mean, I can't, I don't know. That's a tough call. I mean, no, it's not for me. I can't. Because Quest for Peace, it still has Hackman and Reeve who pull out.
And John Cryer.
Right. And do as much as they can.
No.
Chaw. And this movie's got nothing. I mean, it's a disaster.
All right. Who's your MVP?
My MVP is Schlitz malt liquor.
Is there a lot of Schlitz malt liquor product?
Yeah, when she toasts Hart Bachner, when she's trying to seduce him, she cracks open a can of Schlitz malt liquor, and they drink that.
Dude, I tried to drink
that.
Schlitz
Was amazing.
Once, Henry.
It's good stuff.
It's not good stuff.
No, it's awful.
Me and Nathaniel, my Surviving Survivor co-host, we drank Schlitz one night, and it took us it's great if you don't want to get that drunk because it takes you hours to drink one of them.
Right.
And the whole night we just kept making jokes like, "This tastes like Schlitz. What a piece of Schlitz." That was the whole night. Yeah.
Well, that's my MVP. Who's your MVP?
Helen Slater.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also liked the actress who played Lucy Lane.
Yeah, what happened to her?
I don't know. She's not around anymore, but
no.
She was good. Do you know how that role was originally cast?
Demi Moore.
Yeah, Demi Moore was cast as Lucy Lane. She dropped out for Blame It on Rio.
Yeah. Well, that was a good move, though, because I think that movie was
It did a tiny bit better.
Right.
Hey, if you want, well, we'll do this in a second. Who's your LVP?
Peter O'Toole.
I'm
gonna
go
hard,
with Faye Dunaway, man.
Yeah, I met her, so I can't do that.
Fine. All right, that about wraps it up. Hey,
yeah, I guess so.
I just want to say, Supergirl it tanked so bad. I have a list here. The box office 1984.
Ooh.
Supergirl was number 66. I just wanted to name a few movies that did better than it.
Sure.
Okay. Sure. How about Breakin' 2, Electric Boogaloo? These are movies that made more money than Supergirl.
Supergirl.
Yeah.
All right.
Beat Street.
I don't think I've even heard of that.
That's another breakdancing movie.
Oh, okay.
All right. Hot Dog, the movie.
Don't know it.
Yeah. Rhinestone.
Oh, yeah. Sly and Dolly.
That's right.
Who was originally she turned down the Faye Dunaway role. Did you read that?
Yes, I did read that.
Yeah.
Okay, the Phil Collins film Against All Odds.
Yeah, Jeff Bridges.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A reissue of The Jungle Book. Okay.
This movie was so bad that not even remakes outperformed it.
Nope.
Just let's just put out something else just to beat Supergirl.
Cannonball Run 2.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, a reissue of Pinocchio as well.
There you go.
The Gods Must Be Crazy.
Oh my God, that's a franchise.
Sure.
Never saw it.
Friday the 13th 4.
Wow.
Yeah. All right.
Wow. That's basically Supergirl didn't have a lot of viewership.
I gotta tell you though, it was a fucking fun year. I'm looking at like the top
Ghostbusters
12 right now. Okay, yeah. What do you think was number one? Because I would have thought Ghostbusters, but that's number 2.
Okay, all right. 1984. Ghostbusters number 2. You said?
Yeah, it's number 2.
Okay. I don't know, man. You got to help me out a little bit. Give me something like usual. Give me something.
Comedy.
Okay, that's not very helpful.
With a black guy.
Oh, Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah, number 1.
One of my favorite movies of all time.
But also up there, Temple of Doom, Gremlins.
Of course.
The Karate Kid, Police Academy, Footloose, Romancing the Stone, Splash, Purple Rain.
Wow.
Yeah, what a year.
What a year.
Yeah, but Supergirl was number 66. Okay. So that about wraps it up for this week.
Oh, this was fun.
It was fun. You could find us here on Sunday. You'll get that episode we already recorded about Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. You'll get to hear us not being funny and just being vicious at each other over Superman Returns.
Yeah.
And we'll be back here the following week for those Snyders.